There's a country where people live longer than almost anywhere else on Earth, where crime rates are so low that children walk to school alone at age 6, where cleanliness, order, and quiet self-discipline aren't forced by laws but woven into the culture so deeply that people don't even think about them anymore. That country is Japan. And what fascinates me isn't just what the Japanese do, it's how they think. Because buried inside Japanese culture are habits, philosophies, and principles that most of the Western world has never heard of. And these aren't productivity hacks or morning routines. These are identity-level shifts, ways of seeing yourself in the world that once you adopt them, quietly rebuild you from the inside out. Today I'm going to share 8 of these Japanese identity habits with you. No loud motivation, no aggressive grind culture, just quiet, powerful principles that have shaped one of the most disciplined civilizations in human history. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the Japanese approach to self-improvement makes everything you've been taught in the West look like noise. Let's get into it. Habit number 1, Kaizen. Kaizen is probably the most important concept in this entire video, and it translates roughly to continuous improvement. But that translation doesn't capture the depth of what Kaizen really means. In the West, we're obsessed with massive transformations. We want the before and after photo. We want the dramatic reveal. We want to change everything overnight. And when we can't, we feel like failures and quit. Kaizen is the opposite. Kaizen says forget the dramatic transformation. Instead, ask yourself one question every single day. What is one tiny thing I can do today that is slightly better than yesterday? Not a revolution, an evolution, so small you barely notice it, so small it feels almost meaningless. But that's the trick, because when something is small enough, you don't resist it. And when you don't resist it, you actually do it. And when you actually do it every single day, the compound effect kicks in and quietly changes everything. Toyota built one of the most successful companies in history using Kaizen. They didn't try to revolutionize their factories overnight. They asked every single employee, from the CEO to the janitor, to suggest one small improvement every day, one tiny fix, one slight adjustment. And over decades, those tiny adjustments compounded into a level of quality and efficiency that the rest of the world couldn't match. You can apply Kaizen to anything: your health, your skills, your relationships, your mindset. Stop trying to overhaul your life in a weekend. Just be 1% better today than you were yesterday. That's Kaizen, and it will rebuild you so quietly that one day you'll look in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. Habit number 2, Ikigai. Ikigai is a word that has no direct English translation, but it roughly means a reason to get up in the morning. It's your purpose, your reason for being. The thing that makes life feel worth living. But here's where the Western world gets Ikigai completely wrong. When we hear find your purpose, we think it has to be something huge, something grandiose, curing cancer, building a billion-dollar company, changing the world. And because we set the bar that high, most people walk around feeling purposeless because their life doesn't feel epic enough. In Japan, Ikigai is often something small. A fisherman whose Ikigai is the ritual of going out on the water every morning. A grandmother whose Ikigai is tending to her garden. A craftsman whose Ikigai is making one perfect bowl of ramen every single day. Ikigai is not about impact. It's about meaning. It's the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what can sustain you. And when you find it, discipline stops being a battle, because you're no longer forcing yourself to do things. You're pulled toward them. The people in Okinawa, Japan, one of the world's blue zones where people routinely live past 100, almost all have a clearly defined Ikigai. Researchers believe it's one of the primary reasons they live so long. Not because purpose adds years to your life in some magical way, but because when you have a reason to get up in the morning, you take care of yourself, you stay active, you stay engaged, you don't give up. So ask yourself, And be honest, what is your Ikigai? What would you do even if nobody paid you? What would you do even if nobody watched? That's not a luxury question. According to the Japanese, that's the most important question of your entire life. Habit number 3, Shoshin. Shoshin means beginner's mind, and it comes from Zen Buddhism. The idea is simple but incredibly hard to practice. Approach everything, even things you've done 1,000 times, as if you're doing them for the first time. Why does this matter for rebuilding your identity? Because the biggest enemy of growth isn't ignorance. It's the illusion of knowledge. It's the moment you think you figured something out and you stop being curious. You stop asking questions. You stop being open to new ways of doing things. And that's the moment you stop growing. A master calligrapher in Japan who has been practicing for 50 years still approaches each stroke as if it's their first. Not because they've forgotten everything they know, but because they understand that the moment they think they've mastered it, they've lost the essence of it. In your life, Shoshin means dropping your ego. It means being willing to be bad at things again. It means walking into the gym as a beginner without shame. It means starting a business without pretending you have all the answers. It means reading a book on a topic you think you already understand and being genuinely open to learning something new. Most people can't do this. Their ego won't let them. They'd rather pretend to be an expert than admit they're a student. And so they stay exactly where they are, trapped by their own pride, while the person with Shoshin quietly passes them by. Stay a student forever. That's Shoshin. Habit number 4, Gaman. Gaman is a concept that translates roughly to enduring the seemingly unbearable with patience and dignity. And this one might be the most countercultural idea on this entire list, at least for the Western world. We live in a culture of instant gratification. If something is uncomfortable, remove it. If something is hard, find a shortcut. If something hurts, numb it. We've been trained to avoid discomfort at all costs. Gaman says the opposite. It says that the ability to endure discomfort without complaining, without breaking, without losing your composure is one of the highest forms of strength a human being can develop. And this isn't about toxic toughness. It's not about suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is fine when it's not. Gaman is about a quiet, inner resilience. It's the single mother who works 2 jobs and never lets her children see her struggle. It's the student who fails an exam and sits back down to study without throwing a tantrum. It's the athlete who loses a competition and bows respectfully before going back to training the next morning. There's a Japanese proverb that captures this perfectly. Nana korobi ya oki. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. That's common, not the absence of falling, the refusal to stay down. In your life, Gaman means accepting that the path to anything worth having will involve discomfort, boredom, frustration, and pain. And instead of running from those things, you sit with them. You endure them, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you understand that the person you want to become lives on the other side of the discomfort you're avoiding right now. Habit number 5, Wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi is the Japanese art of finding beauty in imperfection. A cracked teacup, a weathered wooden table, a flower that's just beginning to wilt. In the West, these things are flawed. In Japan, they're beautiful precisely because they're flawed. Now, here's why this matters for your identity more than you might think. Most people never start rebuilding themselves because they're waiting for perfect conditions. They're waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect level of motivation. And because perfection never arrives, neither do they. Wabi-sabi says perfection was never the goal. The cracks are the point. The messiness is the point. A life that's been lived, struggled through, broken, and rebuilt. That's not a damaged life. That's a beautiful life. Applied to your habits and discipline, Wabi-sabi means letting go of the need to do things perfectly. Your meditation practice doesn't have to be 30 minutes of uninterrupted bliss. 5 minutes of distracted, messy, wandering meditation is still meditation. Your workout doesn't have to be a flawless 2-hour session. 20 minutes of awkward, sweaty effort is still a workout. Your writing doesn't have to be brilliant. A terrible first draft is still more than a blank page. Stop waiting for perfect. Start embracing messy, because messy action will always beat perfect inaction every single time. Habit number 6, Oubaitori. This is my favorite word on this list, and I think it might change how you see yourself if you really let it sink in. Oubaitori is written with 4 characters that represent 4 different trees: cherry blossom, plum, peach, and apricot. Each of these trees blooms at a different time. The plum blooms in late winter, the peach and cherry blossom in spring, the apricot in early summer. None of them is late. None of them is early. They each bloom in their own time. Oubaitori means never compare yourself to others. You are not them. They are not you. You have your own timeline, your own season, your own rhythm. This is devastating for the way most of us live, because we spend our entire lives looking sideways. He got promoted before me. She lost weight faster than me. They bought a house at 25, and I'm still renting at 30. We're constantly measuring ourselves against other people's timelines and feeling like we're behind. But behind what? Behind who? You're not running their race, you're running yours. And comparing your winter to someone else's spring will make you feel like you're dying, when you're actually just preparing to bloom. The Japanese understand this intuitively. There's no rush, there's no race, there's only your path, walked at your pace, blooming in your season. And the moment you truly internalize this, something incredible happens. The anxiety fades, the pressure lifts, and you can finally focus on your own growth without the toxic distraction of everyone else's highlight reel. Habit number 7. Kintsugi. Kintsugi is the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold. When a bowl or cup breaks, instead of throwing it away or trying to hide the cracks, Japanese artisans fill the cracks with liquid gold. The result is a piece that's more beautiful than the original, not despite the damage, but because of it. Let that sink in for a moment. The cracks don't ruin the piece, they make it more valuable. Now think about your life. Think about the things that broke you, the failure, the rejection, the loss, the betrayal, the moments when you shattered and didn't think you could put yourself back together. In the Western world, we're taught to hide those cracks. Don't let anyone see your damage. Pretend you're fine. Act like you've never been broken. Kintsugi says the opposite. Your cracks are not your shame. They're your story. They're proof that you went through something difficult and came out the other side. And when you fill those cracks with gold, when you own your scars and let them become part of your identity, you become something more valuable and more beautiful than you ever were before you broke. This isn't just poetry. This is practically transformative, because so many people are stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they're carrying shame from past failures. They tried something and it didn't work. They trusted someone and got burned. They put themselves out there and got rejected. And now they've internalized that damage as their identity. I'm broken. I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. Kintsugi says you were never broken. You were just being prepared for gold. So stop hiding your cracks. They're the most interesting thing about you. Habit number 8, Shinrin-yoku. The last habit is Shinrin-yoku, which translates to forest bathing. And before you dismiss this as some hippie nonsense, hear me out. Because the Japanese government has actually invested millions in researching this. And the science is undeniable. Shinrin-yoku is the practice of immersing yourself in nature, not hiking, not exercising outdoors, just being in a forest, walking slowly, breathing, listening, letting the natural world wash over your senses. Studies from Japanese universities have shown that spending just 2 hours in a forest environment reduces cortisol levels by 16%, reduces blood pressure, reduces heart rate, boosts immune function, and significantly improves mood and mental clarity. 2 hours, no pills, no therapy, no supplements, just trees. But here's why I'm including this in a video about identity. Because the person you're trying to become, the disciplined, focused, calm, resilient version of you, that person cannot be built on a foundation of chronic stress, mental fog, and emotional burnout. And that's the foundation most of us are working with. We live in boxes. We stare at screens. We breathe recycled air. We're overstimulated and undernourished in every way that actually matters. And then we wonder why we can't focus, why we can't sleep, why we feel anxious for no reason, why we have no energy, why discipline feels impossible. Shinrin-yoku is the reset button. It's not about escaping your life. It's about returning to the biological environment your body and brain were designed for. Even if you don't live near a forest, spending time in any natural setting, a park, a garden, a trail, has measurable benefits. And making this a regular habit, even once a week, creates a foundation of calm and clarity that makes every other habit on this list easier to sustain. The Japanese don't see nature as a luxury. They see it as medicine. And honestly, after looking at the research, I think they're right. So there they are, 8 Japanese identity habits that quietly rebuild you. Kaizen, continuous improvement, getting 1% better every day. Ikigai, finding your reason to get up in the morning. Shoshin, keeping a beginner's mind no matter how far you've come. Gaman, enduring discomfort with patience and dignity. Wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection and letting go of the need to be perfect. Oubaitori, refusing to compare yourself to others and blooming in your own time. Kintsugi, filling your cracks with gold and turning your scars into strength. And Shinrin-yoku, reconnecting with nature to reset your body and mind. None of these habits are loud. None of them are aggressive. None of them require you to wake up at 4 a.m. and scream affirmations in the mirror. They're quiet, they're patient, they're gentle. And that's exactly why they work. Because real transformation doesn't happen in a dramatic moment. It happens in the thousands of quiet moments where nobody's watching and nobody's clapping and you show up for yourself anyway. Well, the Japanese have understood this for centuries. The rest of the world is just now starting to catch on. You don't need to overhaul your life today. Just pick one of these 8 habits, one, and start practicing it quietly. Patiently, consistently. Let it seep into your identity like water into stone. And over time, without fireworks, without fanfare, without anyone even noticing, you'll look up and realize you've become someone entirely new. That's the Japanese way. Quiet, relentless, beautiful. If this video resonated with you, leave a like and subscribe. I want to keep making content like this for people who are serious about real, lasting change. And drop me a comment. Tell me which of these 8 habits hit you the hardest. Which one do you need most right now? I read every single comment and I genuinely want to know. See you in the next one.